Hi, I'm Professor Mark Grabowski. This video provides a brief summary of the most important legal issues facing those who engage in online gaming, including fantasy sports, internet gambling, and video games. While it may come as a surprise to many of those who participate, such activities are subject to an array of laws. But, for the most part, participating in these activities is legal in the United States. That could change. Increasingly, lawmakers have been proposing stricter regulation of all these industries. They believe that internet casinos and fantasy sports can lead to gambling addictions, and that video games cause violence in children. So let's take a closer look at the legal issues involved in each of these industries. First, let's discuss internet gambling. When it comes to internet gambling, such as betting on online poker, U.S. laws are murky. In the past, federal laws have often been unclear, and their enforcement has been unpredictable and inconsistent. However, recently the U.S. Department of Justice clarified that there is no federal ban on internet gambling. Individual states are permitted to legalize internet gambling, as long as the gambling itself occurs within state lines or other jurisdictions where the activity is legal. So far, only Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware allow online gambling. About a dozen states have a form of internet lottery, and many states are considering allowing online gambling. In order to participate in internet gambling, users must be within the state to play online. Software pinpoints where players are. Identity and age verification are part of setting up betting accounts. But of course, many Americans are able to subvert this and engage in illegal online gambling thanks to technological workarounds. Now let's move on to the topic of fantasy sports. A fantasy sport is a game where participants act as owners to build a team that competes against other fantasy owners based on the statistics generated by the real individual players or teams of a professional sport. Although fantasy sports have been played for more than 70 years, they were mostly a fringe hobby until recently. The internet boom in the 1990s transformed it into a popular mainstream activity. Today, America's fantasy sports industry attracts more than 40 million participants and is estimated to generate billions of dollars. Some participants wager tens of thousands of dollars on a single contest, and some leagues offer million-dollar payouts, which has caused concern among anti-gambling groups, prompting calls for more stringent regulation. At the moment, it is generally legal to operate and participate in fantasy sports games in the United States. Most fantasy sports games are, by law, not considered to be a form of gambling. That's because fantasy sports contests are considered to require skill rather than luck in order to win. Fantasy sports owners must take into account a myriad of statistics, facts, and game theory in order to be competitive. For both internet gambling and fantasy sports, businesses that offer such activities face far more risks than individuals who participate in the games. Third, let's discuss video games. The issue of a possible link between violence in computer games and the rising trend of antisocial behavior in society has prompted calls for regulation of the video game industry. In fact, several United States cities and states have passed laws banning the sale of violent or sexually explicit video games to children. But federal courts have repeatedly struck down such laws. Courts have said such bans are unconstitutional because they violate the First Amendment. So at present in the United States, there is no federal law against the sale of violent video games to children. However, there is a system of self-regulation governed by the Entertainment Software Rating Board. However, such ratings have no legal teeth, and young children are often able to purchase video games deemed inappropriate for their age. In contrast to the system in the United States, the United Kingdom has much stricter laws when it comes to video games. In the UK, video games that depict gross violence, sexual activity, or games that encourage unlawful behavior cannot be sold to minors. Violators face fines up to about $7,500 or up to 6 months in prison. Finally, there are some other legal issues beyond the legality of participating in internet gambling, fantasy sports, and video games. An array of other legal issues may potentially arise when it comes to online gaming. All of these industries must worry about things like privacy, intellectual property, and defamation. For example, if a basketball video game uses LeBron James' likeness without his permission, the game manufacturer could be sued for violating James' right to privacy. So there you have it, a brief overview of online gaming law. Once again, this is Professor Mark Grabowski. Thanks for watching.